Welcome back to Masters on the Move, where we talk about running beyond just times, medals, and personal bests. Today's guest is a regular at Whangārei parkrun. Colin Smith has been running for decades. He ran some excellent marathon times in his younger years, but what really makes his story powerful is this. Colin has had a knee replacement and he still runs. In a sport that often tells us our best days are behind us once we're injured or get older, Colin's journey is a reminder that running can evolve without disappearing. This conversation is about identity, resilience, letting go of ego, and finding joy in simply showing up. Colin, thanks so much for joining me. It's great to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here, Justin. A little bit nervous, but yeah, no doubt we'll get through it.
You're going to do great, Colin.
Thanks.
How did running first come into your life?
Yeah, good question. I guess I was born in Papakura, South Auckland, and then my parents' marriage split up, and so we moved into Auckland and Mount Roskill. With my mother had there was 5 of us. I was a twin. I got a twin sister, and she had to work, so she would come with us to school in the morning, and we had to find our way home on the bus. So she'd give us bus fare, and so Carol, my sister, and I would get to the bus stop and wait for the bus. And if the bus wasn't there, we'd run to the next bus stop. So the closer you got to home, the less the bus fare obviously was. And so we ran, and so we'd have money for spend on lollies. So I guess that's how I got into it. And then we moved. My mother remarried, and we moved up north here to Titoki, a little town just out of Whangārei. And I was in the cross country. I was always pretty good at running, sort of just natural, I suppose. And I would win the cross country. But I loved rugby. Rugby was my sport.
Right.
But I was really underweight at that top level. So we got into the senior team, and I was about 70 kilos. I was 6 foot, but 70 kilos. I was just too light. And so I got too many concussions. I ended up in the hospital about 7 times with concussion. And in those days, they did look after you. They knew how to treat it, but there was never any emphasis to have a rest after concussion. And so so in my mid-20s, I just decided, I've had enough of getting knocked out. And so I looked at something else to do. And my brother, Peter, he's passed away now, but he was a really good runner. He used to run down in Auckland with the Lydiard crew and all those guys. And then he moved up here, but he was a 2:38 marathoner. So
Wow.
in those days, anybody with a bit of sports behind him would like to run a marathon. So I just decided to, run a marathon. So that was my first training.
Colin, what hooked you? Was it fitness, competition, or something else?
Definitely competition. I'm very competitive. I didn't like losing at anything. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna do a marathon. And a lot of people said, oh, it's your first marathon, you got to take it carefully and really hard to break that 3-hour mark. So that was my first goal. I'm a positive thinker. I try to, I just told myself I was going to break 3 hours no matter what. And that was my goal. So I trained with Peter. Even in those days, back in the 80s, early 80s, we'd train up in Glenbervie. There was a coach, Don Willoughby. He lived across the paddocks up at Glenbervie, and a group would meet there and would just run in the forests. And I didn't really join a club. I suppose I joined the Whangārei club. They were pretty competitive guys in there, and I learned a valuable lesson there. They weren't that, I guess they saw me as a bit of competition, so it wasn't a friendly feeling to be in that club at that time. I've certainly changed now, but so even though I was running with them, I didn't really get to know them very well, that crowd, apart from my brother, of course. And so, so I just carried on from there.
That's a great memory.
Yeah.
Are there any other memories of races or training? Did you that very first marathon that you mentioned? Did you do it under 3 hours?
Um, yeah, I did actually.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. I was training up for the Whangārei marathon, but I got shin splints, which is a pretty common problem for new runners doing big distances. Because in those days we did the linear training system, big miles up to 100, 160k a week, although I didn't really do that much. I did some big miles, and in one of those training runs, I hit the wall. I just ran along and I just stopped. I just couldn't go. You know, it's amazing to think you get that fit and your mind tells you there's no way that you have to walk. And so I slowed to a walk and then I just dropped to the on the footpath. Well, not it wasn't dramatic, but Peter, my brother, he knew exactly what had happened. He just told me to stay there, and he went and got the car and picked me up and took me home. So,
Right.
and then of course I got shin splints, so I couldn't do the. I was just too painful to do the Whangārei marathon. So then I decided to do the Pasta marathon in 1982. That was Rob Dixon's. He actually won it, and it was an amazing event. It was big crowds, and so yeah, I managed to do it in 2:54.
Wow, super impressive. Well done.
Mm.
What did running give you back then?
Really after, you get into the rugby scene and it was real social and that, and so you just can't really stop there. Still had all my rugby mates and I've still got some of those mates that I, know today, associate with. But it was just something to do. I worked in the freezing works at the time. It was a pretty boring job, and so we'd go for runs at lunchtime and then Saturday runs. And I did a lot of track work too. We had a grass track um, up at Kensington Park, almost where the artificial one is now. So I did a lot of track running, and I enjoyed that. And so yeah, I just carried on from there. So yep, that was good.
Fantastic.
Mm.
You've run some really great marathon times. You've just shared about your first one. Did you do even better over the years? Share some of
Uh,
those with us, and what did the
okay.
training look like in those years?
Yeah, I've only ever done 2 marathons.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't see the point in doing any more,
Right.
unless you're going to really break some records. I wasn't going to do it half-heartedly, so I thought when I do something, I do it properly. So the first marathon I did obviously was that Pasta one, and then it wasn't till we bought an orchard, so I sort of had a break from running to develop our kiwifruit orchard. And then some mates had joined Heartier Harriers, and they said, "Oh, come along." And so to break the monotony sort of thing, I decided to go along and have a look. And they're a much different crowd. They like the beer afterwards and
Right.
all that sort of thing.
Yes.
So the social aspect really, yeah, I enjoyed that side of it with the Heartier Harriers.
Yes.
Um, it wasn't a big club. We were always second fiddle to Whangārei. But so I started training for that, and then it's when I did my second marathon. It was 12 years later,
Okay.
and so
So
yeah,
you're a
but
whole lot older then.
yeah. So it's probably a bit mature, but a bit slower, I guess. Although previous to that, I did some yeah. When I was training for my first marathon, I did a 10K in about 34:04 minutes,
Wow.
and so but even in those days, I can remember that race. I came sixth in that race, and there was, these guys were lapping me. And so somebody like Kevin Sumley, he's not running now, but he was the gun.
Yes.
He did about 30 minutes for 10K, and
Gosh.
guys probably like Tony Langton and Jimmy Kettlewell. Jimmy's been a terror for me. I've never beaten him until he's got injured. So there's a few others, but so yeah, I did the Rotorua Marathon, and 12 years later, I just checked my times. Yeah, I did it. I did the Pasta in 2:54:31,
Yes.
and I did the Rotorua in 2:54 37. So
Wow.
so
12 years later.
12 years
Gosh.
later. but it was a totally different race. In the first race, I ran with my brother, and he kept me under control,
Yeah.
and just, I have a tendency to just try and get to the front and go like anything, which is stupid because, again, I never had a coach apart from Peter.
Right.
And that's really one thing I'd like to emphasize. Especially if you're younger, if you can get a coach, somebody that's far more experienced than you, it really pays off. But I was just, well, I knew I wasn't going to be a champion, so I just thought, nah, I'll just do my own thing. And so the first marathon, I really paced it really good, but the second Rotorua, we took off, and there's another nemesis of mine, guy called Mark Coles. He's about 5'0". And every race I could beat him up to 800 meters, but after that he always beat me. And I hadn't seen him for a few years. On the start line there was Mark Coles standing right next to me. So, and we both took off. We went through the half 21k in 1 hour 20. That was just, I knew then that this is ridiculous. So, and I ended up walking to drink stations, and it was a terrible experience because I just started off, but practically the same time. So, yeah, I learned, yeah, even though you're getting a lot older, you don't learn these things until it's too late. No, it was great. Yeah, great experience anyway. So, yeah.
It's an experience we all have, is starting out too hard, thinking you're invincible, and then discovering you're not actually.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about how you're training. What did your training look like?
In those days, after I left the freezing works, I brought I worked for a forestry business, and I ended up taking over the forestry business. And so, for training, it was virtually at work. Like, when we go through the Glenbervie forest, we stick to the roads, but my job was involved going through all those gullies, measuring trees up and down hills through the tough part of Glenbervie. And guys get sick of me saying, look, I used to walk through all this, and it was not a problem. So I just kept a natural level of fitness. And so I can remember before the Kirikiri half marathon, which was year before the Rotorua, I'd get guys to drop me off from the work truck, and I'd run home 10 or 20k or something like that as training after a day's work in the bush. So it didn't take me long to get pretty good fitness. So I did the Kirikiri half marathon, which was probably my best race. So yeah, that was a really great experience. We took off, and I started off fast as usual, and I was coming third.
Wow.
And I thought, man, I shouldn't be up here with these guys. So we were going along, and I eventually I ended up coming sixth in that Kirikiri half marathon in 1:16.
Wow.
Again,
fantastic.
Kevin Summerlee, he was behind me for a while, but then he beat me by about 4 minutes.
Right.
So that's, him, Somerville, Kettlewell, and Mark Coles. Those three guys are just terrible. I could never beat them. But Kirikiri was one of my favourite races. It was good. But I'd go along to fun runs, and it would be quite neat. You just look around the field and think, oh, I can beat most of these guys, and I'll just go to the front and come first or second or something.
Wow. So you were very much focused on performance, chasing that performance. You're a very competitive person.
Oh, definitely. They used to call these events fun runs, and I didn't take it as fun. It was serious until we crossed the finish line, and then it was fun. But if you put the work in, and so it was worth it.
And I'm thinking your work in the forestry industry, all that trudging through the deep undergrowth, etc., up and down hills, that must have in a way given you the strength training that a lot of us are trying to do by going to gym or doing the strength work. You were naturally doing it through your work.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we worked pretty hard. It was 8-10 hour days at least. And I never went to the gym, probably much to my detriment, I suppose. But yeah, I was just got fit through working in the bush. So I was lucky to have a job like that. So I didn't consider it as a job. I just considered it as training and getting paid to train. So
Yes.
it was great. Yep.
How did you measure your success back then?
On results. If I didn't win, um, I'd be annoyed. I mean, Hātea, even though it was a great club, we didn't have top runners, but we could put together some really good relay teams. And when I was the club captain, and we had a great club, and we would always, Whangārei would sort of underestimate us, and not their top runners wouldn't turn up, and that was to their detriment. We had some great wins with the
Fantastic.
relay and that. It'd be great if we had the guys that we got now, man. I mean, they would just be unbeatable in these relay teams. And well, it's like Dennis proved with the parkrun relay. You know, he just put together a team like that, and it's amazing. And I got a lot of value out of relays. It was the camaraderie and just a great way to socialise with other runners. No matter where you come in the relay, you know, you're part of the team, and if you
Yes.
win, it's great.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
When you think back now, what stands out more, the times or the experiences with those people?
Well, it was great experiences, yeah. And you know, you meet a lot of these guys that were in our club at Parkrun now, and no, it was good times, right? And like I say, when you win, it makes it much better. Yeah, I'm a glass half full person, so I try and keep things positive. So, yep, I enjoyed it. Mhm.
Let's talk about this knee issue. When did the knee issue start becoming a real problem?
Probably 2 or 3 years ago, I didn't. I sort of developed a bit of a limp, and it was pain. And we did the Hātea, the downhill kilometre race, and I was having a real tussle with Hayden. Now, which you know, of course, he's a lot younger than me,
Yes.
and I don't know if he was expecting me to keep up with him, but because I thought I was pretty good at that kilometre, and I was good, especially downhill. I just loved running down hills.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was pretty good at downhill stuff. And then we got to the finish, just before the finish, and I felt a funny twinge, and I thought it was the change of surface.
Okay.
And so, and then after that, it just something didn't click. And of course, I was talking to Ryan. I mean, I know your daughter's a physio. Well, my son's a physio, and so he said, "No, you better get that checked out."
Mm.
And so I went and got it checked out, and sure enough, I had arthritis in my knee.
Mm.
So that was, yeah, I thought, oh, that's not too good. And so the surgeon, there's some great surgeons up here, but this guy was down in Auckland, Ryan there in Ireland. So I saw him, and he's recommended that it's got a bit of bone disease.
Okay.
So I've got it checked out. A lot of people think running causes knee injuries, but actually, if you Google it, running doesn't cause your knee injuries. The cartilage, if anything, it builds up your cartilage in your knee and makes you stronger. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Movement's one of the things
mm,
that benefits you when you have arthritis, for sure.
exactly, yeah.
Mm.
But it was actually, so your arthritis is in the bone, and there's not much they can do about it. And so it's just, yeah, he recommended a knee surgery.
Right. Did you try to first manage it or just ignore it? Did you hope it would go away?
Yeah, it's hard to ignore when you're running and you're in pain and all that sort of thing. And we'd sort of, my wife Carolyn and I, we booked to do the Camino.
Yes.
We're over in northern Spain, which is 800 kilometres. And we thought, oh, well, I sort of was going to do it no matter what.
Right.
So we booked that, and I went and saw my surgeon, and he said, oh, it's not going to be the best thing, but what he could do was give me a couple of cortisone shots. So I had one shot on each knee. And we started the Camino. I was limping pretty bad, and I can remember talking to one of they called them pilgrims. Pilgrims, that's the term, people that are walking it.
Right.
And he said to me, he said, well, I don't think you're going to make it with that limp. So that's sort of, oh, I'll show you.
Yeah, that's exactly what you needed to hear.
Exactly, yeah. But after about a week, the cortisone kicked in and I had no limp at all. It was just amazing. And I said to Carolyn, I said, I don't think I'll need this surgery, because I booked into the surgery when we got back.
Right.
So it was going to be an 800 last K on the knees, and that was going to.
Okay.
And I got, after about a week, no pain at all. I was just great. But then within with about 50K to go, it started to come back and started to hurt and all that sort of thing. But just as an aside with the Camino, I mean, we were walking that. You do 20 kilometres a day for 40 odd days, and you think it's quite a distance, but it's spread out over.
Yeah.
But when we would get down, you get a bit days when it was pretty tough. And I said to Carolyn once, we were doing it and it was pretty hot, I said, do you realise that Colin Thorne, his 5K time is faster than our 5K splits? And there's a guy at the time, he was not quite 100. I mean, if he can do 5K in under an hour, there's no reason why we can't. So that was another, he's just, that's where I got my motivation.
Another motivator for you.
Yeah, because I've known Colin right from the early days. And
Right.
he used to call me young fella, because we're both Collins, obviously.
Right,
so
yeah.
he would call me young fella.
Yeah.
So that was quite inspirational, but no, great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mm.
What went through your mind when knee replacement was first mentioned?
Yeah, I didn't really, I knew it had to be done, so it didn't really concern me too much. And I talked to people about it. Every second person you talk to seemed to have had a knee replacement,
Right.
and they've all got different versions and that. But I think, well, at the time I was, I was getting on, so I might as well get it done now and get some use out of it. People keep putting it off and putting up with the pain, and we were sort of lucky we had medical insurance, so covered some of the cost, but it was mainly just to get rid of the pain and then get back into it and get it over and done with. I mean, people that have both knees done, I just can't believe that, because it's a pain. Obviously, once in the operation, you're under anaesthetic and that, so you don't feel a thing, but the recovery is quite painful for a while. They get you up walking within a couple of hours of the surgery and all that sort of thing.
Yes.
But it's just...
Did you ever think your running days were over?
No, I've never thought that. No.
So in your mind, you knew that even with the new knee, you would be out there running again.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, probably faster. That's what I thought.
Fantastic.
No, I've always been pretty positive.
Yeah.
I used to find walking was a little bit boring, but I don't now. But no, I knew with the rehabilitation and everything, it should come right, and it has. Yep.
Were there mental challenges along that way? Because you were talking about the pain with the recovery. That must have been hard to deal with some days, and especially when you're wanting to get back to running and then possibly feeling some days that it might not happen.
No, I sort of... I know the painkillers work, because I never used to take painkillers and everything, because I don't know, I've never needed them. And the painkillers definitely would reduce the pain. And my surgeon said it's going to take you a year to recover. Just don't run for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So within 5 or 6 months, I was walking, running, parkrun, and that was a big mistake.
Okay.
My only advice to anybody having a knee surgery is listen to your surgeon or your physio.
Right.
I see Mark Anderson, I think you interviewed him. He had a horrendous knee injury, far worse than mine. And he's back. He's amazing how he's got back. But I would definitely not recommend that to him. Yeah.
Mark Anderson, that you've just mentioned, for the listeners who are wondering about that, if you go back to a few podcasts ago, you will find his story there. Very inspiring.
Amazing. Yeah.
What surprised you most about your recovery process, Colin?
It was slow, but my biggest thing was I bought a bike trainer. It's called kick, core, swift. And so you get a normal bike, take your back wheel off, put it on this trainer, and it's Bluetooth. And so you sit on it and it changes gear. It's got 24 gears. So, and then you've got a TV screen in front of you. You log in. I'm on the, I've got a program. There's about 3 different programs, but I'm in the mid-range one. And you can switch the program to any country in the world, and you've got a cyclist. It puts an image of you on the screen, and you're following other cyclists, and you can do all sorts of things. And it's got training programs, everything. I lost, well, it must have been the first 3 weeks. I lost about 5 kilos just in sweat. I've got it set up in the garage.
Yeah.
And watch it. One day you could be in the Caribbean and sweating like anything. And so I was doing that, and I thought, I'll switch over to Italian Alps and went up the hills, and that was too tough. So I went back to the Caribbean. But it's a great, I'd highly recommend that program for biking. And I have got an e-bike. I mean, Dennis Langford thinks they're a motorbike, but it's not. It's a great training tool to use. But my surgeon said, get an e-bike, because if you're going uphill and you feel the pressure going on your knee, you just crank it up and it things. But I try and leave it in eco all the way. And I use it like I cycle down to parkrun. I'll do parkrun and cycle home. And so that's a real good workout. And so,
So it gives you that cardiovascular fitness. It keeps the legs and muscles moving without all that impact of continuous running.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's right.
So that was great for your recovery process.
Oh, definitely. That was one of the majors that I'd highly recommend.
Yeah.
If you can get on a bike and.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other important point about my recovery is I went and saw Coach Gino, and he gave me a heap of exercises, talked them through with me. But the important thing is I could do them at home. I didn't need to go to a gym or anything and use the equipment, because most of the exercises were solely related to my knee, and I think that really helped a lot. It was very important for my recovery.
Do you remember that first run back after surgery?
Not really. I knew I had to take it easy. I was doing a lot of walking. I'd come down and I'd walk, parkrun, especially if Carolyn was there, because she knew that I shouldn't be running at all. But I was just very stubborn and wanted to get back into it, but which I said was a big mistake. I should have just kept walking, parkrun every time. That's the beauty about parkrun. You don't have to run it. If somebody comes past you, you just, why go for it?
Yeah.
That's what I love about parkrun. And so I just reverted back to walking, and slowly, but no.
But that competitive nature that came out and won the day sometimes, did it?
Definitely. There's people there that I used to smash when I was younger, and they'd come flying past and that. But it's good. It's got everybody there. I mean, there's a guy, Mark Turner. He won the national 800-meter senior men's title, obviously quite a few years ago, but he does parkrun. And when he first turned up at parkrun, I was super fit, and I beat him. But he just shrugged his shoulders. I mean, no ego. It was just, that's what it is. You can enjoy your past history, but there's always people. And then I had targets on my back. I know where Ron was determined to beat me, and then I got slower, he got faster. Martin was a good classic example. He'd be terrible running for him, and I was a target, and he just slowly so it was good. And then he beats me, and lots of those guys there that I used to be able to beat, but I don't worry about that sort of thing. It's just all part of the fun, really. Yeah.
So you've mentioned that you started running a bit too soon. Did you feel that set your recovery back? How do you feel it affected you?
I think it probably, it was almost to the year, like my surgeon said, that I ran a parkrun, and it just felt great the whole way. So before that, when I was running, it was uncomfortable, not painful, but just didn't feel right.
Okay.
And it was almost to that year that, it was just and getting that feeling back without running, without any numbness or pain. It was the thing. But if you're thinking of getting a knee replacement, do it sooner than later, because then you get all that years of enjoyment. It's supposed to, I'll be trying to break Colin Thorne's records at the 100 mark. So, so that's I've still got 30 years to go. So, but I'm sure my knee's going to last that one.
Yeah.
But as a rider, my surgeon said he doesn't like me running. And he said, just don't do anything stupid like run a marathon. So
Right.
I know those days are over, but
yeah. So running that, when you ran your first full 5K park run without having to walk, break, or anything, that must have felt like quite an achievement and almost comparable to running your marathon at that very good time, or your Kerry half in the fantastic time you did.
no, I'll never forget that half marathon because I trained really hard and I deserved it, especially the first marathon. But it was a great feeling. And then people that know you've been on that journey, they congratulating you, and that's really important. The encouragement from everybody else. It was, and I'm glad I'm back doing it, and I definitely won't be doing any sprint races and things like that. And I'll slowly, I can just edge in front of Martin now.
Good.
And sure, I can. Yeah, no, I'm enjoying it back again.
So you're saying you've had to let go of that very competitive side of you in order to keep running and enjoy it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'll just do it for the enjoyment now, the satisfaction, just meeting the people at park. I love. Part of my job is because I do run director down there as well, and I try and find when they do the first timers, I try and get over there and find out who the people that are from, especially overseas visitors.
Yes.
I try and make them feel special, because it's quite an effort to come all the way over to do parkrun at different places, especially up here in the north. And so, I mean, I just hope you don't have to cancel in any parkruns in Whangārei, because if you make the trip here, you'd be so disappointed missing out on it, because we've got a unique parkrun up here with the bridge, and it's a well-oiled machine up here. So it was,
Tell us about the bridge in Whangārei.
Well, with our park run, we've actually got two bridges that we have to cross, and so and when it's full tide, the organisers up here, we sort of, or the bridge might open because it's over a major river, and the boats have got right away. So if there's a boat that wants to get up to the town basin, they stop the traffic, they lift the bridge and let the boat through. And sometimes it's happened probably once every 2 months or something like that in Whangārei, and the most it's opened is about 3 times during a parkrun event. So if it happens, it happens. You just it's part of Whangārei parkrun. We enjoy it. It doesn't worry me. So.
And a unique part of Whangārei parkrun.
Exactly. Yeah, very unique. We've got a great course up here, and it's just part of it. So, but it's getting very congested. We're getting nearly 500 runners. It's just amazing, When you think back all those years, 10 years, it's 10 years coming up this weekend or something. So it's
big celebration this coming weekend for that.
Yeah.
Fabulous. How's your mindset shifted over the years when it comes to your running and your sport?
I've always enjoyed running, especially if you've had a hard race or run afterwards. It's you feel great. Not so much during some of those hard runs. It's a real painful experience. But now I'm not going through that pain. I'll just do it entirely for the enjoyment.
Yes.
And you go to a parkrun event, there's not many grumpy people at the finish. They're all cheerful, and it's just at the start there's nervous people, there's people that pretty serious, but 9 times out of 10 there's everybody at the finish after accomplishing that 5K, and it just the old endorphins, whatever they are, they just come to the fore, and everybody's happy.
Is there more enjoyment in running now than there was when you were chasing times?
Um, oh, that's a difficult question. I used to love,
Mm.
I'd love, especially in the Hatia where there was some real competitive guys, but not quite up to the ability like the Whangārei club. So that's probably why I was in Hatia, because I could win more than what I'd lose, sort of there. But no, it's
There's something about still winning a race, isn't there?
oh yeah. Um, some of those races I'd be up the front and I think, man, I shouldn't be up here, but the feeling was just so great. I mean,
Yeah.
you just yeah, you don't get a chance to run real top times more than once or twice in your career, I think.
Yeah.
I did that Kiri marathon. I could go out and do a half marathon in 124, 125, reasonably easy, but not that other level. And I'm very disappointed with my marathon times, really. I knew I should have got them down to the 240 marks, but it just didn't happen just because I was wrong. No coaching, no training program. Yeah.
And you didn't do enough of them, Colin.
No, well, I thought if you're doing them really seriously, it's, you can go through some dark periods
Yep.
during the race.
It's
And
a big commitment, isn't it?
it is. And yeah, exactly. That's the other thing it was. I had a young family, and if
Yeah.
you want to do it properly, you've
Yeah.
got to do the commitment. I
Yeah.
just admire these people that are doing these 100K races, 50K races. The commitment is just,
Yeah, the amount of hours that go into training to
oh,
prepare yourself for that's just enormous.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've got a lot of admiration for those. They never really had, no, they probably did, but we didn't really do them back in the 80s, those long races.
Yeah.
It was just a marathon and that was it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Colin, I'm going to go into a bit of a quick fire round here and just shoot some questions at you. Road or trail?
Oh, both. I
Mm.
love them both. Yep.
Favorite parkrun course?
Oh, Whangārei, of course. No, when I go, I've done them all around the world, park runs, and I go to every one with an open mind. I just go there to enjoy it. Just it's a different everyone. Like we did one over in Western Australia not very long ago. It was called Shiraz, and it's in a vineyard. So you're running through vineyard. I mean, things like that. It's just unique. I've done Cardiff where there was 700 people. We're getting closer now, but there was 700 there. And so you could just start off and it was just a walk, really.
Yeah.
Although my wife did it and she got a PB there because she didn't start off fast and it was great for her. So she got a PB there. And then when we did the Cardiff one, the next week, we did a little one just out of a place called Clonethley. That's not the name of the park run, but it was close to that. And it was like a cross country course and there was 30 people there. And they just treated you like royalty.
Oh.
If you're from New Zealand, they just loved you. So, yeah. Done Pawanui, there was 13 turned up. That was I got a top 10 finish there, so that was quite good. But there's 13 people turned up. So no, they're all something unique. I'll just go there with it. Just go there to enjoy myself and meet people, and I love that sort of thing.
Fantastic. Watch on or watch off?
I do watch all the time. I record everything. Go for a walk, I'll record it. If it's not on Strava, that's the saying. But
That never happens.
yeah, there's these new watches nowadays. They're just brilliant.
Yeah,
They
they
just
are.
record probably too much information, but what the hell? It's good value.
Use what you want and
Yep.
disregard the rest. Yeah. Coffee after a run, is that non-negotiable?
Oh, both. I have coffee before and after.
Ah.
Yep. I just have to. Generally, pre-park run, I'll have a coffee and a banana or something like that. But definitely coffee afterwards as well.
Awesome.
Yep.
PBs, are they still relevant or not so much?
I'm down to age group PBs now.
Yeah.
Although late, I went through the statistics and the Whangārei park run for my age group is John Kent, and he's got 21:30 for 70 plus. I mean, that's my PB for park run 5-6 years ago.
Right.
So there's no way that I'm going to catch that. But yeah, so definitely it's a goal, but it's not. No, definitely just the enjoyment now.
Right. You've mentioned a few names there that have been thinking about getting on the show. John Kent, you've just mentioned.
Oh, yeah,
Jim Kettlewell.
yeah.
We need to get some of these guys on as well.
Definitely. I was at the parkrun, the committee meeting when Jim was president, and he said he's seen this, event over in Aussie or something, and it's called parkrun, and he wants to give it a go.
Yeah.
And I just, oh yeah, I'll go along. Man, that's not going to last. 10 years later, it's going. It's just been so great for our club. It's brilliant. But yeah, there's a lot goes on behind the scenes with parkrun. There's shouldn't mention names, but Ron and Martin, they do a great job. Julia, Maria, just incredible.
All the volunteers that show up every week.
Exactly.
There's a lot of organisation, and it's fabulous.
Yeah, we had the advantage. We just picked up our committee from Hātea and put it in parkrun, and then there's a lot of people drop out of that, of course, but the replacements have been just amazing. Yeah, it's a lot of talent out there, and that it's great. Mm-hmm.
One word that sums up what running gives you now?
Enjoyment. Just enjoy it. I mean, the different people you meet afterwards, the banter, all the different people. I sort of try and talk to as many new people as I can.
Yes.
And that's probably how I got to meet you. You were probably there, maybe raising money fast. I'm not sure. So I would have gone and talked to you, and just and then you just develop friendships. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That community spirit is just awesome.
Yeah.
Colin, what would you say to runners facing injury, surgery, or aging, and who are scared that they won't be able to carry on?
I try and be positive. I've just always been positive, and I've never thought that I'd ever stop running. So it changes your life, running, I reckon. It's just, I can just look at my son, and when he started at primary school, he was just way out the back. He joined our club. That was how I'm going to probably sidegress a bit here, if that's all right.
That's fine, yeah.
That's how I got the kids to start running. We're in Hātea, and it was traditional. We'd have a 1:30 run, and then we'd go back to the club rooms for afternoon tea. And Carolyn would want a break from I've got a daughter and a son, and wanted a break from them, so I'd take them along running. And how I'd get them along was because Carolyn didn't really like the kids drinking Coke or eating chocolate biscuits. And of course, they'd go along to the club, and I'd sneak them a can of Coke, and they'd eat all the chocolate biscuits. And so, so they sort of enjoyed it. But Ryan got better and better. He got to intermediate. There was still about 3 or 4 kids that were in front of him. And then got him a coach, Dawn. I forget her last name, but she joined our club, and she was brilliant. And she could relate to children, and he just enjoyed that so much. And she was coaching him, and he got better and better. He got so good that she decided to get another coach for him because he was moving back down to Auckland, and he ended up getting coached by a guy called Chris Ballone. I don't know if you've heard of Chris, but he's won the Rotorua Marathon, and he also coached Bevan Doherty and the name slips me, but they got first and second in the triathlon at the Athens Olympics, and he was their coach. So, and he took over coaching Ryan for a while, and so that was a big improvement. But fortunately, Ryan got a shocking injury training in the redwoods down in Rotorua. So that was sort of virtually the end of his career. He's still running it, but he still hasn't beaten my time. So that's his incentive. But so Ryan just developed. And then by the time he got to high school, he was the kingpin in Northland. He could just, beat everybody. And then we'd send him down to Auckland, and he'd get put in his place down there. But and it just developed not only his sporting career, but his academic career too. So he was his mother did a lot of work to try and get him up to academic levels, and it worked. He just changed everything, and I think athletics helped, and that just by getting a set program, sticking to it, and just perseverance. So yeah, no,
That's
a
awesome
credit.
to hear. Yeah, it's
Mm.
amazing what running can do for the whole family and
It is, yeah. It is.
develop youngsters, eh?
There's not many sports where you can start at 2 and go through to 102.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm.
Colin, what's the biggest lesson running has taught you across your life?
Perseverance. Just never give up. It's what I've always told my kids. Just you'll get knocked down, but just never give up and come back up and do it. So yeah. And enjoyment. Just have the enjoyment of it. Mm. And the health wise, you look at a guy like James, he's lost, 20, 30 kilos just through running and perseverance. Really admire guys like that. Big guys carrying weights, carrying a lot of weight. It's when I ran my marathon, I was only about 65, 70 kilos. So if you put 20 kilos on your back and try and run, see how it feels,
Yes.
those big guys that can do good times.
Yes.
Admire them.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the listeners or viewers out there? Anything on your heart?
I just got so much enjoyment out of it. Yeah, a lot of satisfaction, and involving the family was really good. I got a photo here of that's my son when he first beat me. I was 50 and he was 15, and it was the pie hair fun run, and I got to the start line and I looked around and I thought, oh, I could win this. And there was a woman there. She looked pretty fit, but anyway, long story short, she did win it. Found out later, Maria Atkinson, she was the South Island cross country champ and everything. And then Ryan got second and I got third. So he sort of apologised. He said, "Oh, sorry, Dad, but I thought I'd try and catch her or something." Don't you be sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that was really little things like that. It's big satisfaction.
Exactly.
Mm.
Colin, thank you for sharing your story. I know this will resonate with a lot of runners who are quietly struggling and wondering what's next for them. Your journey shows that running doesn't have to end, it just changes. And sometimes showing up matters more than any time on the watch. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who needs a reminder that it's not over yet. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Good one, Justin. Excellent.